Okay, Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. So hari ini kita sambung kuliah kita berkenaan dengan Energy Principle for Open Channel Flow. So kita perlu belajar yang ini kerana sebab ada foreign sebab in our study for Fluid Mechanics 1 and Fluid Mechanics 2, so we learn about continuity equation, and at the same time we learn about the Bernoulli equation. So for open channel, we already learned about continuity equation. We have Manning equation, and then you know that our continuity equation is actually consists of the resistance of open channel, which is the value of N, and also the slope, the inclination of the open channel. And now we will learn about the energy principle. And this energy principle is actually derived from the Bernoulli equation. So it's actually the Bernoulli equation, but we have different point of view to analyze this equation. Okay, first I would like to introduce you two types of energy. One is specific energy and the other one is the total energy. So for the specific energy here, so the equation can be write as E, which is the specific energy. E is equal Y plus V square over 2G. And it is also can be written as Y plus Q square over 2GA square. So I think this equation you can derive by yourself because it comes from the Bernoulli equation. So for example, we have previously we know that energy in Bernoulli equation is P over rho G plus V square over 2G and Z. And then because the atmospheric pressure is assumed to be zero, because we are calculating by using the idea of gauge pressure. So we have two types of pressure, gauge pressure and absolute pressure. So please do some revision about that. And then we have V square over 2G and Z. So here we have Y. Okay, we have Y as our Z here, and we have V square over 2G as the term for the kinetic energy. Okay, so and then we have, so this is for specific energy, and for total energy here, so the difference between total energy and specific energy is the specific energy is focused on the energy inside that fluid only. And for the total energy, it discusses about the total energy from the from the starting point of the flow until end of the flow. So for example, we have a open channel like this, okay, and then this open channel might be at certain height from the sea level. So as you know, when we do discussion about river and so on and so forth, so we might take sea level as our datum. So at this situation, so we know that the depth of okay, let's say we have one molecule here, and this molecule will have potential energy because the depth of the fluid. So this is the depth of the fluid, so which is Y. And at the same time, the fluid will flow at certain velocity, and it will give you kinetic energy, which reflect in V square over 2G. So, and then if you want to, okay, for these two terms, Y and V square over 2G, it only discuss about the energy of the flowing fluid only. So when you try to discuss in a very big point of view, you need to discuss about the energy of that flow from its level, from its datum. Usually people will take sea level as its datum. So if you want to discuss about this, so you need to take care, you need to take the height here, the height of the fluid of the open channel from a certain level. So in this case, so we put another Z here. So we The Z here is the height of the channel bottom from the datum. So normally we are focusing on specific energy here because we only want to see the energy difference, energy changes when the fluid flow from point 1 to point 2, for example. So that's why please remember this equation. Okay, this is the example. For example, we have a rectangular open channel here with width 2 meters. The depth of water is 1 meter. And then this open channel is located 2 meters from the datum. So we could calculate the specific energy by using this equation, y plus v squared over 2g. So we substitute everything. So we get the specific energy is 1.2 meters. So the meaning of 1.2 meters is this energy can lift water up to 1.2 meters. Okay, maksudnya kekuatan tenaga tu sekiranya disuruh untuk mengangkat air, ia boleh mengangkat air setinggi 1.2 meter. Okay, and then the total energy, so we just plus add with the height of the datum, height from the datum. So we know that the height is 2 meters. So we add another 2 meters here. So the total energy is 3.2 meters. Okay, so and then the relation between V square over 2G with Q square over A square. Okay, you know that the continuity equation is Q equal AV. So we learned about this equation in Fluid Mechanics 1. So please remember this equation. Then we need to know how to draw the specific energy diagram. So previously in Fluid Mechanics 1, we already learned about the EGL, energy grade line. So we have energy. Okay, so we learn about that because we want to know the fluctuation of energy, the increment or the decrement of the energy. So here we start our calculation by using this equation. E is equal y plus v squared over 2g, and then we could also can written this equation as q squared over 2g a squared. So and then from these two terms, we could say that okay, we have E equal y plus v squared over 2g. We know that y is the potential energy, okay, because it's reflect the height of the fluid. Okay, so we call this one is static energy. Because, okay, you know, potential energy is because the fluid is located at certain height. So we call this the static energy. And v squared over 2g is called as kinetic energy. Okay. Now we would like to draw the relation between y and static energy. So what we need to do is we need to draw, we need to plot the graph for y and its energy. So what we do is, okay, so what we do is we just have x-axis, which is the energy, and the y-axis, which is the height of y. And then because we want only focusing on static energy, so we just write equation static energy is equal to y. So means what we need to do is we just give numbers of y. So we set of y. So let's say we have y equal is 1. So and then we have energy, static energy is equal to 1. And then we do all of this. Kita buat plot ini. So kita akan dapati bahawa dia akan menghasilkan satu graf linear. So we have a linear graph like this. Okay, so dia ada graph. So sekiranya paksi X dan paksi Y mempunyai skala yang sama, so graf ini akan memberi sudut 45 darjah. So jadi awak boleh nampak static energy akan menghasilkan hubungan tenaga dan nilai Y adalah straight line. So kemudian kita juga cuba untuk membuat relationship between Y and kinetic energy here. So we write an equation which is EK, which is the kinetic energy is equal Q square over 2G A square. So the problem here is, okay, previously in this relation, we have Y and we have energy. That's why we could plot a graph for E versus Y. But for this equation, we have energy in x-axis, but we don't have any value of Y. So we need to do some adjustment on this equation to make sure that the value of Y come out from the equation. So the first step, so we have two steps here, which is the this step and this step. So what we need to do is, instead of we are using volumetric flow rate, okay, you know Q is meter cube per second, so it is a volumetric flow rate. So instead of using Q, we are using specific discharge here. So specific discharge can be calculated by using this equation. So we have Q, small q, as the symbol for specific discharge, is equal to the real discharge, the volumetric discharge divided by width. Okay. So and then we also substitute the value of A here, because A is the cross-sectional area, so it can be calculated as B, A equal B times Y. So mean B is the width of the rectangular channel and Y is the height of the fluid. So we substitute these two equation into this equation. Mean here we substitute the value of Q with QB. So we have Q square and B square, and A here is B square over Y square, and finally we will get this equation. Now in this equation we have energy, so we could plot energy in x-axis, and we have value of Y. So we could use this value of Y in y-axis. So what we do is, we do the same things, we just give Y equal 1, and then we could get the kinetic energy value. And then we plot all of these, we could find that the shape of the graph here is something like this. Okay, and then one thing that you should know is there are no value of Y equal to 0, because if you know, if Y is equal to 0, so the value is become infinity. It's become too large, so we assume there is no value when Y is equal to 0. So and then we also don't have the cross line or on y-axis, because if you have energy is equal to 0, so you have the equal to 0 here, so the flow rate is equal to 0. So we assume that it does not reflect the actual condition, so normally people will not draw this graph for y equal to 0 and e equal to 0. So we just make sure that the line is not crossed with y-axis and x-axis. Okay, so this is the example. So for example, we have a rectangular channel with a 4 meters flow rate, the critical and alternate depth. So we will discuss about this first, and then I will discuss about this. Okay, so first we could write the equation for energy. So this is the equation of energy. So we rearrange the equation for Q square over A square here with the specific flow rate here, specific discharge. So and then we could get Q is equal 3 meters square per second. So because we already divide it by the width, so width, the unit of width is meters. So the unit here will become meter square, not meter cube anymore. And then what we do, we just plot all of this by using Excel. So for example, we have Y here, we have static energy here. So we know because static energy is equal to Y, so the value is same. So jadi kita plotkan, kita akan dapati garisan ini. Okay. So kemudian we try to plot the kinetic energy. So we have the equation here. So we substitute with Y equal to certain numbers here. So we get all these value, and then we could draw this kind of line. Okay, then so the kinetic energy and the static energy is a part of the specific energy. So because we are focusing on specific energy, so we could say that the total energy from here means the summation of static energy and kinetic energy is the total energy. So what we do is we sum the value of static and kinetic energy. So we just add 0.2 with 11.46. So we have this number, and then we do the same thing for all the numbers here. So we have this one, and then we plot the value of total energy here with the value of Y. So when we plot this one, we could get this blue line graph. Okay, so apa yang awak perlu faham daripada graph ni ialah, pertama, okay, if you want to draw your static energy, please make sure that you draw a straight line like this. Okay, and then when you want to draw your kinetic energy, make sure you draw line curve like this. And then when you sum two of them, maknanya bila awak campurkan static energy dan juga kinetic energy, dia akan menghasilkan satu curve graph seperti ini. Okay, this curve graph, okay, kalau awak melukis secara kasar, make sure kalau awak ada satu garisan lurus di sini, awak buat curve graph untuk kinetic energy, pastikan ia akan berada pada section ini sahaja. Okay, maknanya dia tidak akan melintas melebihi garisan ini, dan dia tidak juga melintasi melebihi garisan ini. Ia perlu ada di dalam kawasan ini sahaja. Okay, boleh faham Ni saya padamlah, dah terlalu banyak ni. So saya ulang, so maknanya kalau awak nak mudah melukis, awak buatlah graf. Lukiskan satu garisan static energy memadai untuk awak melukis seperti ini. Okay, tapi sebenarnya dia kena make sure ada satu lagi garisan seperti ini. Okay, so boleh So ini kita kata adalah basic trend of static and kinetic energy, and also the total energy, which is the specific energy. Okay, so kemudian kita cuba fahamkan apa yang boleh kita dapat daripada graf tersebut. Okay, kita faham bahawa specific energy, bentuk graf dia adalah seperti ini. Nampak ke saya punya cursor ni? Nampak Okay, so
nampak.
Okay, so kita ada specific energy line seperti ini. Okay, apa yang kita boleh faham ialah kita dapati bahawa ia adalah bentuk eksponensial. Maksudnya ada satu ketika dia akan menurun dan akhirnya dia akan membesar kembali. Oleh itu kita perlu faham bahawa garisan ini akan memberi satu nilai tenaga yang minimum. So it will give us one minimum value of energy at one specific location. So we call this point is critical depth. Okay, because this is the only point which has one value of energy and one value of depth. So we call this point as critical depth. So at this point, the energy is very minimum. and the height of this one is called as critical depth. So we show as YC. Big. Okay, so another point, for example, we have one point here. We will find that this point will give us one value of energy. So it must be bigger than the minimum energy here. But this energy will occur 2 times. So it will occur at y equal 2, and at the same time it will occur at y equal 1. So that's why we call these 2 points as alternate depth, because it tell us alternate means dia ada lagi satu kan. So jadi alternate depth means if we have one energy, it can occur at y equal 1 and also it can occur at y equal 2. But the physical phenomenon of that flow will totally different. Energi dia sama tetapi mungkin physical flow tersebut akan berbeza. So saya akan terangkan berkenaan dengan physical flow tu nanti. So jadi apa yang awak perlu tahu daripada graf tersebut ialah beberapa nota yang ini awak boleh dapat daripada website, tapi saya nyatakan yang penting sahaja. Yang penting ialah kita cuba, we try to do our calculation basically on Froude number. As I said previously, we will calculate Reynolds number to know whether it is laminar or turbulent. But for open channel, we are focusing on Froude number. Because Froude number, for sure, it must be used with open channel. And the second one is Froude number is taking care about the effect of gravity. So as you know, when we do Reynolds number calculation in flow in pipe, we neglect the value of gravity. So, but for the open channel, the main factor to make sure that the fluid is flowing is the gravity. So mean the inclination. If your open channel is in flat plate, in flat condition, so the water will not flow. Okay, so and then the Froude number is the dimensionless number which has the function of gravity. At the same time, open channel, it has free surface. Dia ada satu permukaan, dan permukaan ini dia ada tendency to create wave. So and then the existence of wave must be calculated by using Froude number. Okay, so that some reason kenapa kita lebih fokus kepada Froude number berbanding dengan Reynolds number. So yang boleh kita faham di sini ialah, okay, so if the depth is critical depth, so the Froude number is equal to 1. So it called the critical point. Okay. So and then if depth less than the critical depth, okay, so it's called as supercritical flow. So the Froude number is greater than 1. So and then if the depth greater than the critical depth, it's called a subcritical flow, which the Froude number is less than 1. Okay, ini 3 condition yang awak kena tahu. Yang lain awak boleh baca dan faham, saya akan terangkan. So, jadi yang kita faham, critical depth di sini, Froude number dia adalah 1. Dan sekiranya, dan region di atas Froude number yang 1 ini, kita panggil subcritical flow. Dan region di bawah Froude number equal to 1, we call this region as supercritical flow. So what is the difference between subcritical and supercritical? So first, the critical. The critical or the Froude number is equal to 1 means that it is the boundary between the flow that flow in normal condition with, okay, yang supercritical tu adalah when the flow start to wake, start to have a rough flow, and we call that rough flow as hydraulic jump. Okay, so kita katakan idea dia mudah saja, air akan mengalir dengan certain velocity. Tetapi anda kata kalau awak buka air yang tu besar, maknanya saya ada tunjuk contoh di awal slide tu, air dialirkan daripada empangan, so air akan menjadi laju. So bila air dah semakin laju, kita kata air berat, air tak boleh nak laju lagi. So apa yang berlaku ialah air akan cuba meningkatkan diri dia. Kerana open channel ni dia tidak memenuhi pipe, betul kan? So jadi dia apa nama tu, dia boleh makin tinggi makin tinggi makin tinggi. So bila dia makin tinggi makin tinggi makin tinggi, secara mudahnya mungkin air akan senang untuk berombak. So bila air senang untuk berombak, dia ada tendensi untuk menjadi satu fenomena yang dikatakan hydraulic jump. So yang dikatakan subcritical ni, kita kata memang tidak ada langsung kemungkinan untuk dia mengganas, dia menjadi hydraulic jump, berombak dan menggulung dan sebagainya, tak ada. Dan kalau kita lihat the gradient of the energy reduction here, it's quite dia kata kita lihat dia punya tenaga agak landai, betul kan? Dia akan jatuh, dia akan mengecil perlahan-lahan secara gradual. Okay, so and then bila sampai critical, which Froude number is equal to 1, so the increment of energy is exponential. So maknanya dia akan bertindak, dia akan shoot naik lebih mendadak. Ini mungkin lukisan tanpa pengiraan, tapi kalau kita melihat lukisan yang pengiraan, kita akan lihat dia adalah landai. Maksudnya dia agak gradually dengan apa nama tu, static energy. Awak tengok dia lebih kurang bentuk static energy, tapi once di sini kita kata dia akan shoot dengan lebih tinggi. Maknanya kecerunan dia, pertambahan tenaga akan shoot lebih tinggi. So pertambahan tenaga inilah yang akan create hydraulic jump. So jadi borderline dia, point dia adalah di sini, iaitu di critical point. So after critical point, engineers must be aware because the energy increment is rapid. So jadi bila tenaga bertambah dengan kuat, so maknanya mungkin kita kata hentakan air, ombak pada konkrit dan sebagainya akan bertambah. Okay, yang itu yang sebenarnya yang kita kena faham berkenaan dengan alternate depth ni. Okay, so yang itu awak boleh baca, and then kita kata yang ini antara beberapa contoh sekiranya kadar air bertambah, apa hubungan dengan critical point dan sebagainya. So kita kata garisan tersebut akan semakin bergerak ke kanan. So jadi critical point pun akan bergerak seperti ini. Okay, kalau kita sambungkan, so ini adalah garisan critical point, di bahagian atas adalah subcritical dan di bahagian bawah adalah supercritical. Okay, nota yang selepas ini kita kata hanyalah sebagai discussion, a few ideas from engineers who deal with open channel, how they manipulate the graph and then we comes out with certain equation. So it is better, it is advantage for us to know this equation. So first, so we know that the equation is E equal Y plus Q square over 2GY square. So and then we know that the minimum value of energy occur at critical depth. So kita pun boleh nampak bahawa selalunya kalau dalam kita belajar dulu, if we have exponential graph like this, so kita nak cari the maximum point, apa kita buat, kalau sini X dan sini Y, so kita akan ada dx, dy dx kan. So kita equalkan to 0 and then we get the maximum point. So sama juga, cuma bentuk graf kita tu, bentuk dia adalah lebih kurang macam gini. So jadi kita kata untuk mencari point di sini, kalau sini paksi dia E dan sini adalah paksi Y, so dia akan cari DE dy. Okay, so that's why we do the DE dy here equal to 0. And then we differentiate the value of this one, we could get 1 minus 2Q square over 2GY kuasa 3. So kenapa kita nak mencari the maximum point. Then kita boleh comes out dengan equation ini. So maksudnya YC critical depth boleh dikira dengan Q square over G kuasa 1/3 and so on. So beza antara ini dan yang ini adalah kita gantikan Q kecil, specific flow rate ataupun specific discharge dengan actual volumetric flow rate. Itu aja. So and then yang ini setelah kalau awak kira balik, maknanya yang kita kira apakah nilai Y berbanding dengan nilai E, kita boleh dapati bahawa nilai E minimum di sini berlaku pada kedudukan 3/2 YC. Okay. So and then yang ini cuma sekadar kita daripada float number. So kita tahu bahawa dalam critical depth float number adalah sama dengan 1. So jadi kita boleh rearrange the equation. Kalau awak tengoklah, dia yang ini sebenarnya dia akan refer kepada yang ini dulu. Okay. So kemudian ini adalah berkenaan nota yang saya cakap tadi tu. So maksudnya sekiranya velocity kedalaman adalah lebih kecil dan kedalaman adalah lebih besar daripada kedalaman critical depth, so kita panggil dia adalah subcritical, dan sekiranya dia adalah lebih, so kita panggil dia adalah supercritical. Okay. So sama juga kalau kita ubah kedalaman tu kepada in term of velocity, dia akan ada yang inilah. So bila velocity tu lebih kecil daripada velocity of critical velocity, okay, so dia akan menjadi subcritical dan seterusnya supercritical. So yang ini nota saya terangkan, saya harap awak boleh fahamlah dalam pembacaan nota. Okay. Okay, yang ini berkenaan dengan pengiraan wave. Kita punya syllabus, we are not covering the Mach wave here. The idea is simple. So we learn about Mach wave in fluid mechanics too. So maknanya Mach wave ni kita kata oleh kerana kalau hydraulic jump berlaku, so maknanya air akan start berombak dan ombak tu akan seolah-olah akan create Mach wave. Okay, yang ini kita tidak cover. Okay, kerana kita dalam satu keadaan yang lebih besar lah, kalau maknanya kita melihat ombak tsunami dan sebagainya, mungkin kita kata dia akan boleh mencapai kelajuan yang laju, kita terpaksa menggunakan idea Mach number. Maknanya kelajuan yang hampir mungkin separuh daripada hal laju bunyi dan sebagainya. Okay, yang ni pun nota yang sama So nota yang sama, saya cuma ambil daripada beberapa buku teks, so awak boleh faham garisan ini adalah critical point. So float number 1, di atasnya adalah subcritical dan di bawahnya adalah supercritical. Okay, so jadi kita mula pengiraan. Okay, so awak refer balik nota ni, saya upload di website, so awak boleh tengok balik sebab tadi ada soalan, ada nota, and then kita jawab balik soalan. Okay, so the question is what is the critical depth? So the critical depth is by using the equation Q squared over G, so by the power of 1/3. So we substitute all the value, we get 0.971 meter. So and then kita kata minimum energy is equal to 3/2 critical depth. So kita masukkan, we substitute the value of critical depth, we get is 1.457 meters. So this is the value of minimum energy occur at critical depth of 0.971 meter. So lagi sekali saya ingatkan, unit dalam energi kita akan pakai unit dalam meter, membawa maksud minimum energi tersebut kalau kita gunakan untuk mengangkat air, ia boleh mengangkat air setinggi 1.457 meter sahaja. Lepas tu dia dah tak terdaya, tak ada tenaga. Okay, ini contoh pengiraan melibatkan critical depth dan juga minimum energy. Then kita nak masuk berkenaan dengan alternate depth. Okay, for example, question give you the depth of 2.5 meters. For example, okay, please evaluate 2.5 meters. What about this condition? So first, you need to evaluate whether this depth is higher compared to the critical depth or lower. Okay, we found that 2.5 meter is higher than the critical depth. So mean it is in the subcritical region. So jadi saya harap awak dapat imagine lah. So kalau katakan kita ada graf macam gitu, kita ada graf macam gini. So kita ada depth. So kita tahu ini adalah critical point. So kalau katakan Y di sini adalah 0.971. So kalau kita ada Y sama dengan 2.5 meter, so dia adalah dalam region subcritical. Okay, so boleh imagine. So and then apa yang boleh kita buat ialah kita boleh kira apakah tenaga yang berlaku pada kedudukan 2.5 meter. So how to calculate this one? We just use the equation of the specific energy. So we substitute the value of y with 2.5 meters. We could get that the energy occur at 2.5 meters is 2.57 meters. So means that the energy here, tenaga yang berlaku di sini, okay, kalau kita buat turun ialah 2.57 meter. Okay. Okay, but okay. So this is why we call this point is alternate depth, because it occur at 2 points. So means the energy of 2.57 meter will occur at y equal 2.5, and at the same time it will occur at this point. So maknanya kalau awak tengok dia akan occur di sini. So inilah kita kena cari alternate depth for this one. So how to calculate this one? So the idea is simple. We just use the same equation of energy. So we give the value of E equal 2.57, and then we need to calculate the value of Y. Okay, bear in mind that we need to get the another value, the second value here, not the value of 2.5. Kerana ada pelajar dia mengira, dia jadi terbalik. Dia masukkan energi location 2.5 meters, dia kira energi 2.57. And then saya cakap gunakan energi yang sama untuk mendapatkan nilai Y. Dia pun masukkan balik 2.57 dan dia kata for sure Y is equal to 2.5. Okay, so awak jangan buat pengiraan macam gitu, kerana apa yang kita nak adalah nilai kedua, bukan nilai 2.5 ni kita dah tahu, tak payah nak cari, tak apa. Okay, jadi kita kata apakah nilai kedua yang memberi nilai tenaga yang sama, iaitu 2.57 meter. So and then you need to solve this equation, and then I will use try and error method. So and then I calculate with so I calculate with the Excel, and then I found that the supercritical depth, the supercritical alternate depth. Okay, so alternate depth here is Y equals 0.467. Okay, so boleh So, okay, apa physical meaning? What is the physical meaning of alternate depth, of the critical point, and so on and so forth? So, the basic concept or the very general idea of this one is something like this. So, we compare the energy diagram here with the waterfall. So, the energy is become lower and lower and lower like this. So, it's showing that the flow of river of this one. So and then at critical point here you will find that there will jump of energy, means the energy will change rapidly. So maknanya kalau awak ada sampan kat sini, awak bawa sampan, awak masih boleh lagi U-turn. Okay, kerana pengurangan tenaga dan sebagainya, flow apa nama tu, had laju akan mengurang secara maknanya tidak begitu kuat. Tapi one dekat critical point ini, tenaga akan meningkat secara mendadak. So maknanya air akan jatuh sebagai waterfall di sini. Oleh itu kalau awak nak U-turn, awak tak sempat lagi lah. So awak akan terus sahaja merasa pertambahan energi yang tinggi. So bila berlaku pertambahan tenaga energi yang di sini yang tinggi, apa yang berlaku ialah kita tahu bahawa ais adalah incompressible. So means we could calculate the flow by using the idea of continuity equation. So when the energy is higher, so means that it could create high velocity of water. Tapi air adalah berat, it has high density, so it cannot flow as fast as wind and so on. Dia tak boleh nak pergi laju lagi. So apa yang berlaku, dia akan meninggikan isi padunya. Okay, so awak boleh faham Q is equal to AV. If the velocity cannot move faster, so what happen? The cross-sectional area will increase. So maknanya cross-sectional area ni maknanya air akan naik. Okay, air akan naik lah kerana dia nak maintain flow rate. So air yang naik itu kemungkinan akan memberi impak yang kuat. Maknanya kalau peparitan awak tak kuat, mungkin pecah. Kalau sungai, mungkin akan berlaku hakisan yang banyak, tanah runtuh dan sebagainya. Kalau sungai tak cukup besar, isi padu naik, apa yang berlaku? So akan jadi banjir. Itu tak apa lagi, banjir, air sikit lah. Air, walaupun air itu kita kata agak bahaya. Tapi kalau anda kata, itu juga tak boleh nak menghalang ataupun nak overcome tenaga, tak boleh nak equalkan tenaga yang ada pada waterfall ni. So dia akan create ombak. So itu yang dikatakan hydraulic jump. So hydraulic jump ni berlaku apabila tenaga yang besar yang ada pada air dilepaskan, maknanya ada, so air akan bertindak seolah-olah menjadi terlalu turbulent, so dia akan menghasilkan ombak dan sebagainya. So contohnya seperti ini, maknanya air kalau dijatuhkan di sini, kalau mengikut kita kata pemikiran biasa, mungkin dia akan lebih kepada air akan mengalir laju. Rupanya tidak, air akan bergulung kat sini, akan naik. Okay. Dia akan naik dan hinggalah menjadi keadaan seperti ini. So maksudnya dia akan mungkin bergelora, so dia mungkin akan naik sikit dan akhirnya dia akan mungkin menjadi satu ombak di sini. Okay. Kerana kita kata yang menjadi menariknya hydraulic jump ni, kita kata takkan mungkin air sifat dia adalah sama level. Maknanya kalau air inlet tinggi ni, takkan mungkin air di sebelah outlet menjadi tinggi lagi kan. Tetapi yang sebenarnya di dalam hydraulic jump, ia akan berlaku. Okay. So yang ini kalau kita lihat, so the value of F here is the value of rod number. So if 1 to 1.7 is quite mild, and then if you have more than 9, it will become a strong jump. Okay, yang ini yang kita akan belajar sedikit pengiraan berkenaan dengan hydraulic jump. Then berkenaan dengan nota ini, saya tidak terangkan lebih lanjut kerana di dalam fluid 1 kita dah belajar berkenaan dengan type of wear. Okay, so yang ini cuma saya harap awak dapat tengok kerana ada satu soalan yang akan menggunakan yang ini. So kita akan belajar sekiranya wear empangan kita tu adalah bentuk tips point macam gini, atau empangan kita ada bentuk flat, so air boleh lalu di atasnya, dan pelbagai lagi lah. So maknanya, okay. Dan yang ini nota terakhir kita. Okay, yang ini saya rasa pun awak dah biasa nampak yang ini. So maksudnya kita ada belajar dalam fluid 1, sekiranya kita punya wear tu adalah rectangular wear atau kita adalah triangular wear, so ada pengiraan dan sebagainya.